Today is one of those weird days in the church because in the church today we celebrate a few different saints. Two that are on the calendar, one that I've seen online that people are talking about as well. So, the two on the calendar are St. Margaret Mary Alacoque and St. Hedwig. The third one that I've seen chatter about online is St. Gerard Majella, the patron saint of expectant mothers. That it's his feast day too. This happens a number of times throughout the year where there are multiple saints on a feast day. So you'll have, February 3rd, St. Blaise and St. Ansgar. Well, St. Blaise is always preferred. The throat blessing. St. Ansgar, less known. I am the pastor of a parish called Sacred Heart Parish. And so, St. Margaret Mary Alacoque, the one who receives the apparitions of the Sacred Heart of Jesus. Well, of course, I'm going to be predisposed to choose and select the orations of St. Margaret Mary. St. Hedwig doesn't seem as popular, right? So, how does a priest pick out those saints they celebrate? So, at Mass, then, if there's double saints, I remember that on May 25th, there's three saints that day. St. Bede the Venerable, St. Magdalene de Pazzi, and St. Gregory the Seventh, I think. And so, you have to pick which one you're going to celebrate and what orations. Now, I'll usually always say the other names in the canon, in the Eucharistic prayer. Like if I use Eucharistic prayer 3, I will insert all three names, all two names, whatever. So, I think it really comes down to, as a parish, is there a predisposition to a certain saint? Like I said, St. Margaret Mary. It could be the personal piety of the priest. The priest might have a devotion, If you love history, maybe you love St. Bede on May 25th, and so you're going to celebrate St. Bede. But if you love the Carmelites, you're probably going to pick out St. Magdalene de Pazzi because she was a Carmelite. And so there's all these different reasons why a celebration of a particular saint might be chosen over the other. Now, let me just tell you a little bit about St. Hedwig. St. Hedwig marries a duke, so she marries into royalty, has several children, maybe 7 kids, and they dispute a lot. They fight. She referees their fights a little bit as their mother. As her husband dies and as her life goes on, St. Hedwig goes on to join or to live at one of the many monasteries that she established throughout her life. She was a very prayerful woman, seeking God every day. And I just thought there was kind of a little bit of beauty in that. St. Hedwig just living there, going to Mass, praying with the community. I think about some of these communities out there, where you have a religious order, maybe let's say in Milwaukee, and so someone from the community, every day they go to that community. They feel connected, and that's what made me think of St. Hedwig. So today we celebrate St. Margaret Mary, St. Hedwig, and if you're in some circles, St. Gerard Majella. We are inspired by these saints, and we ask them to pray for us.